Good morning, Kids Church. Welcome to this week's video. Hope you've had a lovely week, whatever you've been doing. Maybe you've been enjoying some of the sunshine earlier on in the week. Maybe you've been at school or nursery or a kids group. So hopefully you've had a great time and I look forward to leading you this week. So my first question to begin with for you guys is, have you ever been to a toy shop? Now, I know recently that may have changed and you haven't been able to get to many, but before we had maybe like a bit of lockdown, have you ever been to a toy shop? Can you remember? What is it like? Have a think and shout out some answers maybe. Yeah, good. There's often lots of shelves, isn't there? And lots of different toys. Now, whenever you go in that toy shop, I imagine if you're anything like me, you might head for the Lego aisle, okay? And you see lots and lots of bits of toys, and you might think, I want that one, 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 I want that one. And you might think, I just want all of those toys in that toy shop. Have you ever thought that? Yeah, I know, heard some of you nodding there. I'm like that whenever I go, and I still go into toy shops sometimes. I pretend I'm buying something for my children, but actually I want to go myself. But when you're in there, you think, I want all of those different things. Now, can you often have all of those things you want? What do you think? No, you can't, can you? Because you have to buy them. You can't just take whichever ones you want. So another example of that, just have a look on my table here. I've got a few different things. I've got an Xbox controller. I've got a little toy spanner. I've got a harmonica, I've got a little plate, and I've got a Lego model, okay? A few different toys, if you like. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take one thing away, and I wonder if you could guess which one I've taken. Almost, I could say I'm going to steal one thing off the table and take it, okay? So, can you see? Has that gone? Okay, let's take one thing. Okay, I've taken that one thing. Right, what do you think I've taken from my table? Remember, I had lots of different things. Have a think and see if you can remember. And if you can, shout out for me. Oh, no, the harmonica's still there. Good guess, though. Well done. It was the spanner, wasn't it? Okay, I took the spanner. And I almost stole it because I didn't pay for it. I didn't ask anyone, I just took it. Now, in our story today, we're going to be learning about a little chap called Joshua, okay? Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this story here, and it's a true story from the Bible, okay? And we're going to have a little chat about what happens after this story, but I just thought I'd set the scene, if you like. So, God tells Joshua to lead the people of Israel into the promised land. Don't be afraid because I am with you, God says to Joshua. Joshua sends 2 spies to explore the land and the great city of Jericho. Truly God has handed over all the land to us, the spies report. The people of Jericho are terrified that we're coming. The Israelites must cross the Jordan River to reach Jericho. When they carry the Ark of the Covenant into the river, God makes the river stop flowing. Everyone walks across on dry land. So amazing things are happening at the moment. Joshua takes 12 stones from the river to make an altar. The altar is to remind the people of God, how powerful God is, and to obey him. So they must follow whatever he commands. When the people reach Jericho, God tells them what to do. They obey, which means to follow. They march around the city for 6 days. On the 7th day, they march around the city 7 times. The priests blow their horns and the people shout. Woo! Okay, so lots of noise. And what happens? The walls of Jericho all fall flat down. How do you think Joshua feels at this moment, and maybe the people that are on board? What happens to them? How do they feel? Yeah, they're really pleased, aren't they? And if we turn over, we can see Joshua was a great leader. He and his people obeyed God, and God had given them the promised land. They're all really happy because what happened was that the walls fell down and they were all there. It all worked out for them really well. Now, at the end of this story, it moves into another part of the story in the Bible. And Joshua and his group are told to go to another place called Ai. Okay, it's a bit of a funny spelling. We think of it E-Y-E, but actually it's A-I. So he's told to go there, and once again, the people follow God's law. So they decide to follow it. But they're told to send some spies ahead. So Joshua gets a couple of his men and he sends them ahead to check out how good the other people are and whether they are going to be difficult to beat in a fight. Okay, because they're going to have like a battle. Why do you think he sent those spies? What do you think they were going to be counting, do you think? Yeah, good. He was going to count how many people they were going to be fighting. So the spies went off to Ai, off they got. They come back and they tell Joshua, do you know what? There's hardly anybody in Ai. We are going to have an easy peasy lemon squeezy battle. We don't need many soldiers to go. It will be super. So Joshua thinks, great, this is fantastic. So off they go. They go and they think, not many people. They start fighting, and do you know what? The soldiers in Ai, even though there weren't many, they fought really hard, and actually even some of Joshua's army, they didn't survive and they all had to run away. So all of these soldiers that were thinking it's going to be easy all had to run away with Joshua. And Joshua's thinking, hold on a minute, what has happened here? Now, God had told the people, or Joshua and his followers, not to do anything and not to steal or take anything from any of the cities that they went to, like Jericho and the other ones. What do you think happened though? Any thoughts? Yes, you're right. One of the people stole something from that city, a bit like earlier. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. Can you see that? So I stole that earlier, didn't I? And what happened was one of the people stole something earlier from that. And God told Joshua, the Israelites have sinned. They have stolen something. Someone, a bit like me earlier with that, someone has taken something that doesn't belong to them. What or who do you think all the stuff belonged to? So it didn't belong to Joshua and it didn't belong to the people. Who do you think it belonged to? Any thoughts? Good idea. No, it's not their friends or family. Any other thoughts? Fantastic. It was God. All of the stuff belonged to God. But unfortunately, one of these people, they took something even though God had said not to. So the problem is when they went to this battle in Ai, all of the easy stuff that they thought they were going to win, actually, God had sort of punished them and said, no, that's not right. You can't steal my stuff. And actually, they lost that fight. And you know what? God said to them, we need to work out who, Joshua, you need to work out who has taken that thing, whatever it was. Now, it wasn't a spanner or it wasn't an Xbox controller, but it was something that they had to, that they'd taken, okay? So they went to that thing, they went to it and Joshua said, who had stolen it? Now, the person that had stolen it said nothing. So do you think Joshua could work out who had taken it? No, he couldn't. And that's really important. Sometimes if we steal or take something that doesn't belong to us, you might be able to trick other people, okay? And those other people might be around you, they might be friends or family, and you might be being able to trick and maybe make something up so that they don't know. But actually, there's someone bigger that does know. Who do you think that might be? Yeah, well done. Again, thinking back to our story, God knows everything. So even though Joshua and his friends didn't know who it was, God knows. And do you know what? God knows everything. In the Bible it says he even knows how many hairs are on your head. Now for me that's not many. For you guys watching this, you've probably got lots of hair. So he even knows how many are on your head and your head and your head and all of your different heads, which is amazing. Okay? But God does know everything. So in our story that we've just heard, we heard that God had told Joshua, you've got to find out who has stolen this object. Because until you do, God said, I'm not going to help you anymore. And you obviously worked out last time you went to I didn't help you because someone had stolen this object. So the following day, Joshua got all of the families in his tribe together and started talking to them to find out who had stolen it. Now, one person who had stolen it tried to hide it, didn't he? But when the man stepped forward this time, God said, it is you. You have stolen the item. And he said, Lord, I am sorry. I have stolen the item and I've lied and I've done the wrong thing. And God said, don't worry, I forgive you. So even though the man tried to hide the item, and I think he actually hid it under a tent, okay, his tent, he hid it from Joshua. Joshua didn't know. Who knew? Who was it that knew where it was? Yeah, exactly, God. God knew where it was, and he couldn't hide it from him. When the man said sorry, then God said, don't worry, I forgive you, okay? And then God went on to help Joshua and his people. So that's a really important point, isn't it? That God forgives when we ask for God's forgiveness. He forgives us and says, don't worry, you are free, okay? So hopefully you've remembered a few things from our story that we've done. I've got a few questions that I'd like just to ask, okay? Excuse me. The first one, who was the main character at the start of our story? Can you remember? I know one of you remember this because it might be your name. Well done. It was Joshua, wasn't it? Fantastic. Okay. What did they do when they went walking? What did they then do? They walked around. Fantastic. They went to the city and they walked around the walls, didn't they? How many times can you remember? Good. It was 6 times, wasn't it? And then on the 7th, what happened to the walls? Yeah, they all fell down, they crumbled, and they were doing their trumpets and shouting and everything like that. And the walls just crumbled and came down, didn't they? Okay. Third question. So we can hide things that maybe we've done wrong, or in this case that have been stolen. We can hide those things from people, but we can't hide them from who? Who is it, do you think? Oh, not families. Who was it? Yeah, God. So we can sometimes hide those things from our friends or our families, just like that guy did in our story, but we can't ever hide it from God. And so, just to finish, what is the commandment that we've been learning about today? Can you remember? Brilliant. It was you shall not steal, or you must not steal, something like that, however it's worded or phrased. And it comes from Exodus chapter 20, verse 15, like I said, okay? So that is our story, and hopefully you've started to understand that even if you do something wrong, God forgives us, okay? And remember, even if we think that we can hide it from people that we love or people around us, actually God still knows, doesn't he? Just like he knows everything in those hairs on our head that we spoke about earlier. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed our story and learned a little bit more about Joshua and what happened when unfortunately someone didn't follow one of God's commandments, when they didn't follow what he'd asked. Okay, so I'm going to just pray to finish, and then I'll say goodbye. Okay, so hands together and eyes closed if you want. Dear Lord, we thank you for the gifts and maybe the toys that you have blessed us with in our homes. We thank you that you love us and that you care for us. I pray that this week and beyond we might follow the commands that you've given us, and we might make the right choices with our friends and with our families. Amen. So again, it's been really pleasurable and I've enjoyed leading you this week. I think that you have a great week, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye.